at this. Well, hello everybody and welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G. John Galindo, coming to you live each and every Saturday, only here on Top Shelf Oldies. Want to welcome you to the March 2nd, 2019 Vinyl Treasure Show. Glad you can join Johnny G on this snowy morning. Woke up to like 4 inches, 4.5 inches. I mean, what a pain in the butt to go out there. I really couldn't even shovel all of it. I'm not supposed to be doing exercise on this very low calorie diet, which, by the way, I lost 24 pounds in 2 weeks and feeling very good about it. Yes, I am. So welcome to the Vinyl Treasure Show. Got some cool 45s for you tonight. It's a 1950s and early 60s edition. We opened up tonight's 50s edition with a band leader from New Orleans, Louisiana, recorded for many labels, but in 1953, Jerry Wexler signed him to the Atlantic record label. His name was Tommy Ridgely. Tommy Ridgely, with a song he wrote, we just heard a tune called Jam Up. It included Tommy on piano, Lee Allen on tenor sax, and Alvin Red Tyler on baritone sax. That one they released September 1954 on the Atlantic record label. Tommy Ridgely and his band with Jam Up. So sit back for the next 2 hours. Got some cool 45s. We started off with a few up-tempos, then we count down the music chronologically here. Let's open up the vocal portion with a song I first heard on the Gus Gossard Show back in the early 1970s. This singer was from the Bronx, New York, and along with a trio of gals that previously recorded as the Claremonts on Apollo, they were his neighbors. They would then become the Tonettes, and they're providing the background vocals here, and I'm featuring it on the original label, that being Doe Records. I don't think I've played the Doe copy. It's only VG, but still, we're going to give it a spin here. From May of 58, Vince Castro with his tune Bong Bong. They're liking that one there in the Top Shelf Oldies chat, and that's Vince Castro. May 1958 release, featured it on the Doe label. That's the original label, Doe Records, Bong Bong, parentheses, I Love You Madly. App Records, subsidiary of ABC Paramount Records, would pick that up in August of 1958, distribute it nationally. It was sort of a New York hit, or a East Coast hit here, and I remember hearing that one on the Gus Gossard Show. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening, spinning 1950s and early 60s. Next is a group from Philadelphia, PA. They did some recording for disc jockey Jocko Henderson and Barry Golder, and they were looking to sell their recordings to other labels or the masters to other labels, and they were successful with getting Atco to purchase this master, which was released in December of 1957. But the deal was that Atco would allow the Henderson and Golder to issue it locally in the Philadelphia area on their mainline label. So for you collectors out there, the Atco release of this next record is the true first press, but for some reason the mainline record, probably for its rarity, is worth more. I'm featuring the intended B-side of the record, co-written by the lead singer. His name is Eddie Curtis. We go to February 1958 on the mainline label for the Superiors with Don't Say Goodbye.
Like I do, darling, please don't say we're through.
You told me you would love me forever, and that we, my darling, we would never ever part. Now it's my turn to play with you, my darling. Can't you see you're breaking my heart?
Don't say goodbye, for I must make you see that you mean more to me than needs me. Well, the beat of my heart.
Can't you see you're breaking my heart?
Breaking my heart. Don't say goodbye, for I must make you see that you mean more to me than needs me. The beat of my heart.
B-sides here on the Vinyltreasure Show for the Superiors, February 1958 release on the mainline record label out of Philadelphia, PA. Jocko Henderson, Barry Golder's label. Don't Say Goodbye is the name of the tune, and that one there, Jocko Henderson and Barry Golder, did exactly the same thing with another record by the Fabulaires, their tune called While Walking. They originally issued on the East West label, and then locally on the mainline label. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue, and we count down the music chronologically. I have a number of flip sides from the last 50s edition, and with this first one, I featured the B-side by this Washington D.C. group's their third release on the Atlantic label. It was called Middle of the Night, which was a big number 3 Billboard R&B hit for them, but so was the A-side, a big number 2 Billboard hit for them, and a classic song for this classic group called The Clovers. We go to March of 1952. It features Buddy Bailey on lead, the Great Clovers on Atlantic with their classic. It's called One Mint Julep.
One early morning, as I was walking, I met a woman, started talking. I took her home to get a few nips, but all I had was a mint julep. One mint julep was the cause of it all. I don't remember just how it started, but all I know is we should have parted. I stole a kiss and then another. I didn't mean to take it further. One mint julep was the cause of it all. The lights were burning low there in the parlor, went through the kitchen door. I popped her father, he said, I saw you wet. You kissed my daughter, got to wait right now. Oh, face of slaughter, I didn't know just what I was doing. I had to marry all face ruin. A mint julep, a mint julep, a mint julep, a mint julep. One mint julep was the cause of it all. I don't want to bore you with my troubles, but from now on I'll be thinking double. I'm through with flirting and drinking with
I got 6 extra children from a getting frisky.
Oh, a mint julep, a mint julep, a mint julep, a mint julep. One mint julep was the cause of it all.
Classic sounds here on the Vinyltreasure Show. We go way back for that one. March 1952, The Clovers on Atlantic with their cool tune, One Mint Julep. The name of that one features Buddy Bailey on lead for that one. I think that was their third release. Did I write that down here? No, I did not. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. We are in 1952. Let's move into 1953. Actually, the next 4 records in a row are flip sides from the last 50s edition. Now, this group is from Harlem, New York. I played the B-side of their first release on High Weiss's Old Town record label. Actually, they had a release earlier on the Rainbow label, but this is the first of 2 they recorded on High Weiss's Old Town record label. I played You Could Be My Love. That was the ballad side and the B-side. Now, the A-side is A Jump, which again features Wilbur Paul on lead. I had to change, those of you watching on the webcam, I had to change the needle to 78 because it sounds better with a 78 needle, because how they cut the record, they use the 78 stylus, however it goes, to cut that biscuit that they use to press the record up. But it sounds better, and it's on red vinyl, so it looks really cool with a yellow label. So let's go back to August 1953. These are the 5 crowns on Old Town. It's called Good Luck Darling. Put this on here. Here we go. Wait, doesn't sound. That's not right.
hope you feel the same. Well, far, far, baby, I'm going far away. Ooh, far, far, baby, I'm going far away. I love you, darling, and I hope you feel the same. Well, took all my money, thought it was gold, with a strong baby, baby, now you're getting bold. Well, good luck, darling. Good luck, darling. Good luck, darling, I hope you feel the same. Well, far, far, baby, I'm going far away. Ooh, far, far, baby, I'm going far away. I love you, darling, and I hope you feel the same. Well, took all my money, thought it was gold, was strong, baby, baby, now you're getting bold. Well, good luck, darling. Good luck, darling. Good luck, darling. I hope you feel the same. Bum, 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 ba-da. 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 Bum, ba-da, ba-da, ba-da. Bum, 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 ba-da. Took all my money, thought it was gold, with a strong baby, baby, now you're getting bold. Well, good luck, darling. Good luck, darling. Good luck, darling. I hope you feel the same.
Wow, his scratches and all. You know, I want to try something for a second. Hold on. Let me just test this of the 45 needle for a second. Let me just take this 78 needle off. Take this off. That's going to be for the 78 special. And let me put back the 45 needle for a second. Live radio here. Let's just see if this would sound any different, any better with a 45 needle. Let's see here. Let's put this on. Let's see. Here it goes. Let's see if it sounds better. Let me know. Oh, maybe it does sound better. Warren, does this sound better with the 78 needle?
Good luck to you, darling, beyond your merry way.
What do you think, guys?
Good luck to you, darling, beyond your merry way.
Or more static?
I love you, darling, and I hope you feel the same.
I don't know.
Well, far, far, baby, I'm going far away.
It's a little better. North Dakota Bob says a little better. Anyway, unfortunately, what's going to play better for that would be a true 78, I'm sure. And their second record, by the way, only came out on a 78, but that's a rare one there by the Five Crowns. Wilbur Paul on lead, August 53. Good Luck, Darlin' is the name of that one. High Weiss's Old Town record labels. We continue here. Let's move to 1954, and we remain in Harlem, New York, for this group known as the Crows, another classic group. I played the B-side to their fourth release on George Goldner's Rama label, a song entitled Baby, which was the jump side. Now, the A-side was called The Blues Ballad on the label, and it features Daniel Sonny Norton on lead. We go to April 1954 for the Crows on Rama, and their tune called Untrue. Didn't line up right either. There.
Here's what
can you treat my poor heart this way? Oh, yes, you are untrue. So blue is what I am, so blue. How can you break my poor heart this way? Oh, yes, I am so blue. You got me dreaming of you every day and every night. And when I wake up from that dream, my dreams are just not right. Untrue is what you are, untrue. How can you treat my poor heart this way? Oh, yes, you are true. You are untrue.
That's another classic sound there from 1954, April 54. For the Crows, their fourth of six on the Rama record label with Ray Barrow and his orchestra, not Jimmy Wright, not yet. Jimmy Wright will join George Gollner's as his house band, but that was Daniel Sonny Norton on lead, the Crows with Untrue on the Blue Rama label. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, we move into 1955. Another group I played a couple of weeks ago was called The Champions. Played a 45 on Henry Stone's chart labels out of Miami, Florida. I played the intended B-side. Pretty cool rockin' tune. It was called Keep a Rockin'. But the A-side is also a cool rockin' tune. We go to August of 1955 for The Champions on chart. It's called Annie Met Henry.
Street, they got together with the greatest speed. Annie and Henry sure look neat. They danced all night with Henry's flat feet. Henry roll, roll, roll.
We'll keep a rollin'.
Henry rock, rock, rock.
We'll keep a rockin'.
Henry dance, dance,
We'll
dance.
keep a
dance.
dancin'. That was the start of a bigger romance.
Oh. Annie looked at Henry with her big brown eyes. Henry looked at Annie and realized what a chance for a great romance. The only thing Henry could do was dance. And he rolled, rolled,
We'll keep a rollin'.
Yes, and he rock, rock,
We'll keep a
yes,
rockin'.
Henry dance, dance,
We'll
dance,
keep on
dance.
dancin'. Sure look like a bigger romance.
Oh, Henry and Annie sure look cute. Henry all dressed in his new suit. Annie had on her silk and lace. When they danced, you know they set the pace. And he rolled, rolled,
We'll
rolled.
keep a rollin'.
And he rocked, rocked,
We'll keep a rockin'.
Henry danced, danced,
We'll
danced.
keep a
yeah.
dancin'. The time was close for a bigger romance.
rest of my life. And the roll,
We'll keep a rolling.
you know the rock, rock,
We'll keep a
yes,
rocking.
you know the dance, dance,
We'll
dance,
keep a
yes.
dancing. That's the story of a big romance.
Those are the champions from August 1955. Annie Met Henry is the name of that one on Henry Stone's chart record label. And when the Midnighters came out with all those Annie songs on the Federal label, others jumped on the bandwagon, as was the case with this group called the Champions. Let's move on here in the year 1955. Let's go out to the West Coast for another B-side, though. I played a couple of weeks ago on Dootsy Williams' Dutone label, the third release for Don Julian and the Meadowlarks, a song that Don Julian wrote. It was called Mine All Mine, but the A-side credits Dootsy Williams as the writer, and I bet it was really, though, Don Julian that wrote this. You know, these record owners played a lot of games with these records to get the most money, of course. But let's go to October 1955. This is the A-side of the record for Don Julian and the Meadowlarks, Dutone Records. It's called This Must Be Paradise.
I see a moon-kissed, starlit night. There's not a stormy cloud in sight. Now you whisper, hold me tight. This must be paradise. I'm in a small, dim-lit cafe where we linger until the break of day. I hear violins far away. This must be paradise. It seems strange to me, and yet so good to be in this heavenly place. There's a halo around your lovely face. There's a pathway by a stream where flowers grow and lovers dream. There's a peaceful valley of green. This must be paradise.
It seems so strange to me, and yet so good to be in this heavenly place.
There's a halo around your lovely face. There's a pathway by a stream where flowers grow and lovers dream. There's a peaceful valley of green. This must be paradise.
Sounds of California here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Don Julian and the Meadowlarks is the group. October 1955, Dutone Records, Dootsy Williams, Dutone Records. That is the A-side, a song entitled This Must Be Paradise. It's paradise every Saturday for Johnny G, spinning my original vinyl 45s for you, the Top Shelf Oldies listeners. Let's continue here. We stay out in California, and this group formed at Cathedral High. It was an all-male parochial school located a couple miles north of downtown Los Angeles. Now, the debut single for this group came out on the Modern label back in 1954, but they signed with Jake Porter's Combo Records and released 4, and I'm featuring their biggest hit, which was their first, written by the lead singer. His name is Fred Romaine. Fred Romaine on lead. We go back to November 1955. These are the Native Boys. The Native Boys on Combo with their hit. It's called Strange Love. It's the first of 4 for the Native Boys. The Native Boys, November 1955, released Fred Romaine on lead. Strange Love is the name of that one. Jake Porter's Combo record label, one of the thousands of labels that your host Johnny G collects as we continue now. And we stay out in California once more. For yet another flip side, we go to Eddie and Leo Mesner's Aladdin Records. Played the B-side to this 45 a couple weeks ago by Eloise Brooks and the Dreamers. The song was called Charles, My Darling, a nice ballad penned by the lead, Eloise Brooks. She also wrote the intended A-side. Go to October 55 on Aladdin Records. This is Eloise Brooks and the Dreamers. The tune is called My Plea.
I would thank the Lord my plea.
Nice record. I upgraded that. That's actually a rare 45, believe it or not. Eloise Brooks and the Dreamers on the Aladdin record label. October 1955, MyPlea is the name of that tune. That's a nice one. I like that one. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, up next, a request for Rick and Philly. Thanks again, Rick, for your email. Never a bother at all. So please send your emails to vinyltreasures@aol.com. Rick wanted to hear this great group, out of Gary, Indiana, recorded for Vivian Carter's VJ label. They had 20 releases on VJ Records alone. There were others that came out after they left VJ, but Rick requested the B-side to their 10th. Now, the A-side was their tune, You Gave Me Peace of Mind, but let's give a listen to Rick's request, the B-side, written by Otis Blackwell, along with Al Smith's orchestra and the late Pookie Hudson on lead. We go back to December 1956. We move into 1956 with the Spaniels on VJ, and it's called Please Don't Tease.
Please don't tease, don't make me cry, don't say the words that'll make love die, don't say the words that'll break my heart, do the things that'll make us part. Don't tease, don't make me cry. I'll do my best and treat you kind if you just promise that you'll spend mine. My heart's not something that you can borrow, have today and give tomorrow. Don't tease, don't make me cry. Can you remember the times, the wonderful times we had, just you and I? We strolled through the park and kissed in the dark. Your lips, they burn like fire. Please don't tease, it hurts me so. Don't play with love, cause it's no joke. The love I have is just for you, a love that's fair, strong and true. Don't tease, don't make me cry.
Can you remember the time, the wonderful time? Well, yes, I had just you and I. Oh, we strolled through the park, kissing in the dark. Your lips taste like fire.
Please don't tease, cause it hurts me so. Don't play with love, cause it's no joke. The love I have is just for you, a love that's very strong and true. Don't tease, don't make me cry.
By request for Rick in Philly, that one there by the Spaniels. The Spaniels, December 1956. That's the B-side to You Gave Me Peace of Mind. Cool up-tempo there called Please Don't Tease. That was their 10th of 20 they recorded on Vivian Carter's VJ record label. Unfortunate that we lost Pookie Hudson January 16th of 2007 at 72. Died from cancer, but left us with some great music that we hear here on Saturday evenings here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Let's continue, and on the last 50 show, I played a request for Rick in Philly. He requested Bobby Ralph and an uncredited group. They were called the Laurels. They backed him up, and it was on the Dot label. Rick requested I'm Not Afraid, which is a great request, and was the intended B-side of the 45, but the A-side's pretty nice too, so we're going to give it a spin before I file it back down in the no humidity basement. Now, publisher on this is House of Fortune. When you see that, that means George Mottola. George Mottola was the West Coast George Goldner. Same type of person, same type of record mogul. And this has George Mottola involvement, and it's his publishing, and he gets writer credit on this. But let's give it a spin. October 1956, Bobby Ralph and the Laurels backing him up on Dot. It's called Little Fool.
Oh, little fool, why are you crying? Oh, little fool, why are you blue? Don't you know they're only trying to take my love away from you. Stop your crying. Much too smart to let them keep us apart.
That's Bobby Ralph and the Laurels there. That's a cool ballad there. I agree with those in the Top Shelf Oldies chat, and that's a good one. Bobby Ralph, October 1956. Little Fool is the name of that one on the Dot record banner. We are in the year 1956. Up next, a group from St. Louis, Missouri. Originally formed as the Bel Airs, the members included Art Lassiter and two brothers, George and Murray Green and Douglas Martin. And in 1955, they were known as the Trojans. They had a release on the RPM record label. I have that record. And then when they they became involved with Ike Turner and his Kings. Actually, they were when they were on the RPM label. Ike Turner and his Kings of Rhythm. They became known as the Rockers. They had two releases on Sid Nathan's Federal label. This one from June of 56. It features Art Lassiter on lead. Let's give a listen to the Rockers on Federal. It's called Down in the Bottom.
Well, down in the bottom, the said good rockin' down there. Oh, down in the bottom, said good rollin' down there. Well, it rocks so fine you don't need rocking chair. I met Diggin' Smith, Sister Green, they was rockin' like something I have never seen. Down in the bottom, said good rollin' down there. Oh, it rocks so fine you don't need a rocking chair. Down in the bottom, hey, hey, down in the bottom, hey, hey, down in the bottom, hey, hey, down in the bottom. Well, it rocks so fine you don't need a rocking chair. That Reverend Henry started to turn around. He rocked so fine he laid his bottom down. Down in the bottom, said it's good rolling down there. Well, it rocks so fine you don't need a rocking chair. Well, if you got a woman don't like to go out, take her to the bottom, she'll rock and shout. Down in the bottom, said good rolling down there. Well, they rock so fine, you don't need a rocking chair.
Yeah, those are the Rockers. The Rockers on Sid Nathan's Federal record label, June 1956, released. Down in the Bottom is the name of the tune. Art Lassiter, he's on lead. I think it was also recorded on the ballad label, Art Lassiter and the Ballads, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I had one of their records in the boxes here, but that's a cool tune. I have it on the bio promo. I know somebody who just collects Federal bio promos, but some of them I haven't seen on a bio promo. Anyway, Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes. We are in the year 1956. Up next is my favorite song by this Los Angeles, California group. This group, along with the Moonglows, were fortunate enough to have two releases out at the same time under different names. Moonglows were out at the same time with a release by the Moonlighters. They were the same group. Sincerely was one and Shoo Dooby Doo was the other. Now this group, which happened, this group, it happened a number of times. Also, the releases by both the Jacks and Cadets. Now, this side features Willie Davis on lead. We go to the Bahari Brothers RPM record label from April of 1956. These are the Jacks on RPM. This is my favorite song by the group. It's called Why Did I Fall in Love?
I ever believe in you? What makes you treat me the way you do? Why did you tell me we were through? Why did I fall in love? Why did I fall for your sweet caress and give up my heart for you to possess? I made a bid for happiness. Why did I fall in love? I trusted you, my darling, with all of the faith I know. All alone, oh, mine. Why do I cry for you all the time? Why do I love you, my darling dear? Why did I fall in love? I trusted you, my darling, with all of the faith I know. But you let me down, you left me all alone. Oh, tell me, why did you go? Why can't I find peace of mind? And why do I cry for you all the time? Why do I love you, my darling dear? Why did I fall in love? Why did I fall in love?
April 1956 there for the Jacks. The Jacks on the RPM record label. That is their fourth of six for the Jacks on RPM. Why Did I Fall in Love is the name of that one. And Willie Davis, he's on lead for that one. And a few collectors out there, the True First Press is on the blue label that I just spun right now. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the tunes. We count down the music chronologically here. Let's move into the year 1957. Posted this one up on my Facebook wall. And we remain out on the West Coast. This is the hardest 45 to find on Johnny Otis's Dig record label. This record belonged to Rich Chris, and he was a collector. He passed away, unfortunately. And Spence Wooten, he was involved. He was so instrumental with me getting a lot of records, and unfortunately, Spence Wooten passed away. Terrible, terrible things, but we remember these people. I really remember Spence all the time with these records because I'm kind of like lost a little bit without him. Gonna have to go over to Allentown now myself. He was my finder of records over in Allentown. He would call me up and say, "Johnny, do you need this? Do you need this?" And he would buy it for me. He did, but I miss him immensely. But he was instrumental in me getting this record by the Gladiators, and they were basically the same group that recorded for the Hollywood and the Showtime labels as the Feathers, but minus Johnny Staton. And instead, the lead singer, he was Renee Beard. He's the lead singer on this. This is the intended B-side. Both sides are great on this record. We go to March of 57, the Gladiators on Dig. This is, I think, the jump side, if it is, or medium tempo. It's called Girl of My Heart.
Girl of my heart, I love you so. Girl of my heart, want you to know. Listen to me. Please say you'll be mine, mine alone. Be mine alone. How I love to tell the story of the girl of my heart. Please try to listen. Say we'll never part. I am alone, as strange as it may seem, with the girl of my heart. Lately I find that you're on my mind. Just can't sleep at night. Come with me, darling, I need you so much. My heart cries when you're not inside. How I love of the girl of my heart. Please try to listen, say we'll never part. I am alone, as strange as it may seem, with the girl of my heart.
March 1957 there, Johnny Otis's Dig record label out of Los Angeles, California. Those are the Gladiators. Gladiators, Renee Beard on lead. Girl of My Heart is the name of that one. That is the B-side. The A-side's pretty nice, too. Later on, this group would become the Glens that recorded, on the Sudden label. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, lots of California sounds tonight. Just happened to be that way. And this next artist was a member of the Sheiks that recorded for the Federal record label and more notably sang with Jesse Belvin as the Clicks on the Modern label. And he really had one big hit on Leon Renee's Class label. You may know the tune. It was called Pretty Girls Everywhere. But this is his debut solo release on Art Roop's specialty label, written by Marvin Phillips. We go to June of 57 for Eugene Church, Mr. Eugene Church on specialty, and his tune called Open Up Your Heart.
Open up your heart, let your daddy in. I want to make love to you for now and evermore. Open up your eyes, can't you realize that you're the whole world to me? Baby, can't you see? Honey, baby, well, I know you know what this is all about. Don't tell me that you love me, I said just get on away from me. Things ain't what they used to be. Open your eyes, can't you realize that you're the whole world to me? Baby, can't you see? Honey, baby, well, no, I know you know what this is all about. Don't tell me that you love me, I said just get on away from me, 'cause things ain't what they used to be. Whoa, open your eyes, can't you realize that you're the whole world to me? Baby, can't you see?
That's a great Eugene Church, June 1957 release. That's his first solo release on Art Roop's specialty record label. Open Up Your Heart. He had other releases that are good on Rendezvous King and later on World Pacific. That's a good record too, I think from 1966. Johnny G here spinning my original vinyl 45s. We do it every Saturday from 10 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies. We are in the year 1957. I featured the intended A-side of this 45 a couple of weeks ago. This group out of Queens, New York. It's on Sid Nathan's King label. They recorded 2. This was their first. I played the side called My Baby's Gone. Flip isn't that bad either. It features Tommy Mallon on lead. Their group is called the Velvet Keys. We go back to November 1957. The Velvet Keys on King with their tune called Let's Stay After School.
Let's stay after school. There's oh so much to learn if you stay after school. I'll teach your heart to burn. We'll learn together how we can change the weather if you'll stay with me after school. Bring a pen and pad, and we'll write notes of love. Tell your mom and dad that you'll be late, my love. We're gonna stay right here until the answer's very clear if you'll stay with me after school. I wanna know what it's like to kiss an angel from out of the blue. I wanna know why my heart skips a beat whenever I'm around you. Oh, let's stay after school and solve this mystery. Please don't change the rule. We could make history. There's so much we could find to give us a peace of mind if you stay with me after school. I wanna know what it's like to kiss an angel from out of the blue. I wanna know why my heart skips a beat whenever I'm around you. Oh, let's stay after school and solve this mystery. Please don't change the rule. We could make history. There's so much we could find to give us a peace of mind. So please, let's stay after school.
November 1957 release there for the Velvet Keys. Velvet Keys on the King record label. Let's Stay After School. Tommy Mallon, he's on lead. I hated staying after school. I was a member of the chess club, used to stay after school. I think another thing, I was talking in class, and they said that I think I had to do 10 jumping jacks in front of the class. This was 8th grade, and I refused to. And he said I had a choice. I can do 10 jumping jacks in front of the class, or I can do 50 jumping jacks at the end of class when it was empty. So I decided to do 50 jumping jacks, and you know they had those glass windows where the students could look in anyway, in the doorway, so they were laughing just as much anyway. That's when I had to stay after school. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue, and up next, a request for Bopper Boy Warren. And we recently lost this singer. He passed away February 21st at the age of 81 after a long illness. But he was a member of the Del Vikings when they recorded, or at the time they were recording Whispering Bells. And he was in the service at the same time. He was stationed in Pittsburgh. And he did lead on a number of their Mercury releases like Cool Shake, I think, and Jitterbug Mary, and a couple others. And he was about a member of the Del Vikings for 7 months before he was transferred to Germany. Now, in June 58, while on leave, he traveled back to the United States so he could record some songs for Carlton Records, Joe Carlton's record label. Now, this is a song he wrote, and it's a request for Bopper Boy Warren, currently in the chat. I'm also watching Johnny G on the webcam. This one for Warren. We go to June of '58 for Mr. Gus Backus on Carlton. It's called My Chick Is Fine.
My chick is fine, whoa, she's fine. You better know, you better know, you better know, you better know she's fine. She's a fine, she's fine, fine, fine. Well, she grabbed me by my arm, won't let me go. Why I dig the little woman so? She kisses me with her lips like a wine. She's fine, so fine, so fine. My chick is fine, yeah, she's fine. Well, she calls me up on the telephone, comfort me when I'm all alone. She just never steps to the line. She's fine, so fine, so fine. My chick is fine, hey, she's fine. Oh, she's got that wiggle in a wall, got the giggle in a talk. I really dig her when we're all alone, and yes, she really all my own. She's fine, hey, yeah, she's a fine. Woo! Yeah, she's a fine, fine, fine. She's fine. Hey, yeah, she's a fine. Look at her. Oh my! I'll tell you, girl. Did you ever? Watch out. Well, she got that wiggle in the wall, got the giggle in her jaw. I really dig her when we're all alone, and yes, she's really all mine. She's fine. Hey, yeah, yeah, she's what? She's tough. Whoa, she's nice, she's enough. Watch out, look out, oh, fine. Oh, fine. Hey, yeah, yeah, she's fine. Ooh, she's tough. She's enough.
That's a cool rockin' tune. Thanks for requesting that one, Warren. Gus Backus, June 1958 release on Joe Carlton's Carlton label. A song entitled My Chick Is Fine. Now, he finished his service. When he finished his service, he relocated to Germany, where he had a couple of releases, I think in 1961, on the Phonograph label. Wooden Heart, I think, was one of them. I forget the other, but he just passed away February 21st at the age of 81. That's a cool rockin' tune as we continue here. And got a request for a D. She wanted me to feature this group out of New York City, or play this record out of New York City on Danny Robinson's Vest label. They had a previous release on Danny Robinson's Holiday label, a song entitled Counting the Stars, and Dee requested their follow-up written by the group's manager, that being Les Cooper. You know, Les Cooper, what was that hit he had, that instrumental hit Les Cooper had on the Johnny G drawing a blank. You guys know who it is. But anyway, let's give a listen to this request for D. It features Johnny Jackson on lead. We are in the year 1958. These are the Ladders on Vest with My Love Is Gone.
Oh
request for D, those are the Ladders. The Ladders, Johnny Jackson on lead. 1958, My Love Is Gone is the name of that one. Danny Robinson's Vest record label. Yes, Les Cooper had the hit Wiggle Wobble. Thank you, George from Ohio. But that one there on the Vest label, for you collectors out there, the true first press does not have the stars around the Vest logo. I went crazy looking for my copy of that. I couldn't find 2 requests. That one, so I had to end up getting the second press on the Ladders. And for Lino, I'm looking for that V8's record, Lino. I have it. I can't find it. I played it a number of years ago, but it's somewhere here in the boxes. Anyway, that's what it is on that one. As we continue here, and here's a request for Rick and Philly for this group out of Hollywood, California. They recorded 2 for the Brunswick label. Now, Rick requested their first, written by the lead singer. His name is Robert Draper Jr. Now, this one charted nationally. It was number 62 on Cashbox, number 51 on Billboard, big number 16 on the R&B charts from October 58 for Rick and Philly. These are the Accents on Brunswick with Wiggle Wiggle.
You don't have to be pretty, you don't have to wear fine clothes. All you gotta do is just walk along and wiggle where it shows the most. Some girls are born with beauty and others have fine clothes, but they think about their beauty and they forget to go to wiggle where it shows the most. Some folks believe in beauty, fine clothes and everything. You can put a wiggle in a shimmy sack and really make people scream. Now listen to me, little girl, you as cute as you can be, but forget all about your beauty, girl, and just wiggle, wiggle, wiggle for me.
By request for Rick and Philly, the Accents, October 1958. We can say it's their biggest hit. Wiggle Wiggle's the name of that one on the Brunswick record label. They would have one more release, 2 on the Brunswick label and 1 more on the Coral label in 1959. Unfortunate that we lost the lead singer Robert Draper in 2000. But that's very cool tune. It sounds like Thurston Harris. Doesn't it sound like a Thurston Harris record? Excuse me. Anyway, Johnny G here, spinning original vinyl 45s. We are in the year 1958. And speaking of Rick and Philly, on the last show, I played a request for him by the Adelphis, that group out of Brooklyn, New York. He requested the A-side of their second release on Bob McGee's Rim label. I played for him a song called Kiss a Kiss. And the B-side's a nice ballad as we go back to December of 1958. This is with Tico Wilshire and his orchestra, Rim Records, the Adelphis. It's a B-side. It's called The Sun Will Shine Again.
Hello, young lovers. Do not despair. Your love will bloom again. Someday, somewhere. The sun will shine again, and our love will
Yes, that is a sweet ballad there by the Adelphis. December 1958, the full title, in parentheses, The Sun Will Shine Again, is the name of that one. It's on the Rim record label. Tico Wilshire and the orchestra. Remember when I tell you collectors, if you're at a record show, you see Tico Wilshire or Sammy Lowe, buy the record. Chances are it's a good record. That's a good record. Both sides great on that 45. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, we are in the year 1958. Next, a group from Manhattan, first recorded as the Demons on the Teenage record label, but when the label went out of business, Jerry Winston, he was the owner of Onyx Records, he wanted to start a new label. He called it Newport Records, and he wanted to sign the group to the label, but couldn't find the bankrupt owners of Teenage Records to get permission. So he said, look, come record for me. We'll just change the name of the group. They'll never know. So they changed the name from the Demons to the Emersons. And they had this lone release on the Newport label written by the lead singer. His name is Eddie Jones. We go to October 1958. The Emersons on Newport. It's called Joni Joni.
Joni, 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 baby, how you grow? What a lovely smile. Oh, let me love you for a while. Whoa, whoa, Joni, 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 baby, how you grow? What a kiss of fire. Oh, let me be your heart's desire. Just like only yesterday, when you were just a child. But now, when you look at me that way, baby, it drives me wild. Whoa, Joni, 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 baby, how you grow? Let me buy that ring. Oh, baby, you're my everything. You're my everything.
October 1958 there for the Emersons on the Newport record label. Sammy Lowe and his orchestra on that one. Joni Joni, the name of the two. Now, when Winston became the head of Cub Records, he brought over all his old masters. And the Emersons, they have a release on the Cub record label. I forget what the name of the song was, but they do, as did all the groups, or not all the groups, but the Wanderers were on Onyx. The Velours were on Onyx. They all gravitated to Cub Records. And this Emerson's group also has another one on United Artists. And actually, Eddie Jones went on to record with other groups through the years into the mid-1960s. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening, and we're continuing. We move into 1959 now. And we head back out to California. Actually, we're going to 1359 Oak Street in San Francisco for the Continental label. Now, this lead singer of this group, her name is Ramona King. You might know her release on the Eden label. It was called Oriental Garden later in 62, I think. But prior to that, she sang lead with this group, the Fairlanes, and it's a song she wrote. We go to August of 59. These are the Fairlanes with Ramona King on lead, Continental Records. It's called Writing This Letter. Sounds of California here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. A lot of records tonight out of California. Those are the Fairlanes. Ramona King on lead, August 1959, Writing This Letter on the Continental Records there. And she had solo releases on Eden, Warner Brothers, and I think her last release was on Amy back in 1967. But I remember buying that 45 from Chris Ciccona. Got to say hi to Chris and Phyllis. If I get over to that Allentown, PA show, I think it's in April. Going to have to take a day off here on a Saturday to go over there, but I think I'm going to do it. Haven't seen a lot of the folks there in a while. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, we'll go back to Philadelphia, PA for this next group that recorded on the Mink label. Interesting story about this record, though. Initially, this group recorded as the Stereos, but they were sued by an already existing group called the Stereos. And they had to change their name, so they changed it to the Tams. Now, the rarer copy of this 45 on Mink is by the Stereos, by the way, but I have the release by the Tams. And now, we're going to play the intended A-side of this 45, which, fortunately, I don't think it was a hit. Maybe it was in Philadelphia. But there's a story about the B-side that is about this record. But anyway, let's give it a spin. This is the A-side. I think they mentioned American Bandstand in this. You got to listen closely, but it features Carol Devine on lead, but this is the intended A-side of the 45 from November 59, the Tams on Mink. It's called Teenage Kids.
Dum da ba dum da ba da ba da ba da ba dum da ba da ba da ba da ba da ba dum da ba da ba da ba da ba da ba da. Teenage kids, they rock and roll, dance like red, they got control. Teenage kids are full of pride, love and life and starry-eyed. Teenage kids, they watch their step. Sure have a way. Hey, do the cha-cha, hey, do the stroll, hey, do the pop, rock and roll. Hey, do the walk, hey, do the crawl, hey, do the shake, rock and roll.
Love them all.
Hey, do the cha-cha, hey, do the stroll, hey, do the pop, rock and
November 1959, released there for a group called the Tams, a mixed group. They're not all a girl group. There's a male bass in there. But the Tams on the Mink label, Tams a.k.a. the Stereos with Teenage Kids. Now, that was the intended A-side of the record that really went nowhere. I mean, I could imagine Dick Clark playing that on his Raider record in 1959. Maybe he had involvement in 59 with the Mink label, with a lot of labels in Philadelphia, until the Senate committee or whoever, the Congress interviewed him, and he had to get out of all his record involvements. But some 4 years later, in 1963, some local disc jockey started playing the B-side of that record. And it was a song called Memory Lane, and the kids just went crazy for the song. They started asking for the tune in the record stores, and they're like, we got to get this record. So Parkway leased it from Mink, but they only put the B-side out. They didn't replace it with, they didn't put that side out on the record. They put, I think, a piano instrumental that's pretty good by, I forget his name, Lee Harrison maybe, I'm not sure, but I like the piano flip on that record. But they started pressing it up with the old name, the Tams, but there already was a new group called the Tams recording on ABC Paramount, so they had to change their name, so they changed it to the Hippies. And there's a clip of American Bandstand, or a clip of Dick Clark on American Bandstand saying, "Here's the hottest record around. These are the Hippies with Memory Lane," and he plays it, and they're dancing to it. Anyway, that's the story, but there you go. But that's the intended A-side that really went nowhere. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. We continue. We are in the year 1959. This next group, they formed in San Gabriel Valley, California, while in high school. Performing throughout the area, they attracted the attention of Nortie Beckman, of Nordy's Music Center in Hollywood, California. He became their manager, and they released this song first on his label Zenith, ultra rare, this record on the Zenith label, but then it came out on the Stack label, which is the copy I have. They consisted of Sal Delgado, Ruben Okoye, Ray Bias, and Jesse Otis. Al Sanchez, he's the lead singer. No, I'm sorry, Al Sanchez is not. Lead singer is Nick Delgado. Let's give a listen to this 45 on the Stack record label. We'll send it out to Bob Pegg, October 1959. The Storytellers. It's called You Played Me a Fool.
You played me a fool.
Sounds of California here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Those are the Storytellers. Storytellers, October 1959. You Played Me a Fool is the name of that one. Came out on the Stack. I featured it on the Stack label. We'll send it out to Bob Pegg. He wanted a scan of that flip side. I had it, and it was nowhere to be found. But now you have it, Bob. But they would have some later releases. I think they recorded on the Classic Artists label in the 1990s. That was, what was his name? The biggest collector. Oh, gosh, Johnny G going blind. I must be losing weight in my brain. As we continue here on the Vinyltreasure Show, up next, a singer goes by the name of John Capri. And I don't know anything about this guy, but it seems to be his only release. It came out on the Beaumark label. Now, he's being backed up by an uncredited group who are really the 4Js out of Philadelphia. And they had their own releases and backed up other groups on other labels in the Philadelphia area. So I guess this is out of Philadelphia. But let's give it a spin. October 59. His name is John Capri, or Capri. It's on Beaumark Records. It's called When I'm Lonely.
When I'm lonely, feeling blue, oh baby, you know what I'll do?
I'll go to you.
When I see you at the dance, I start to go in a trance. Oh baby, you know what I'll do?
I'll go to you.
desire. I'll go to you.
His name's John Capri. I guess John Capri will say, being backed up by the 4 J's out of Philadelphia, October 1959. When I'm Lonely is the name of that one on the Beaumark record label. You're never lonely, not on a Saturday night from 10 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies. You got Johnny G spinning original vinyl 45s. We spin it till midnight. Sometimes we go overtime. Usually we go overtime. Going to do that tonight. But let's continue here for a request for Bopper Boy Warren. Wanted to hear this song on the Oasis label. Hard to find information about this group. There's 2 groups that goes by the name of the Dwellers, one out of Detroit, there's another out of Ohio. This group is out of Ohio, Toledo, Ohio, I'm guessing, because the label sure is Oasis Records, but they're called the Dwellers, and Warren requested the intended A-side. So, for Warren and all the Top Shelf Oldies listeners, here are the Dwellers from June 59 on Oasis. It's called Oh Sweetie. As Johnny G gets caught. You're welcome, Warren. That's a cool request. Haven't heard it in a while on the Oasis record label. Those are the Dwellers, June 1959, a song entitled Oh Sweetie. That is the intended A-side. I remember I had that on a bootleg. I had it like on gold, silver wax, I think, which I sold all my colored boots because I ended up getting everything on original. And somebody gave me good money for that boot, maybe $20 or $25, I forget. Somebody bought all my bootlegs, my colored bootlegs, for good money, but I replaced them. Although that's on styrene. You know how Johnny G does not like styrene 45s, as is the next record on styrene as we move into the year 1960 with a great 2-sided 45 on the Amy label. This group is called the Sheiks, a popular name for groups at the time in the 50s and early 60s. Now, Louis Silvani says this group is from Virginia. That is the other Sheiks that recorded on the F&D label, not this group. I disagree. I think this group is out of New York City, or New York, written by John Berry and Donald Razor. This is the intended B-side of the 45. I was deciding which one to play. I needed something a little bit faster at this point, but I'm spinning it on the purple paint stock painted on label. Again, I hate Amy Records, the styrenes I do, but it's from June of 60, the Sheiks on Amy. It's called Please Don't Take Away the Girl I Love. B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That's a great two-sided 45. You know what you're going to get next Saturday. You're going to get the flip side. Those are the Sheiks from June of 1960. Please Don't Take Away the Girl I Love. It's on the Amy label, that purple painted-on label. Yuck. On styrene, yuck. It's not good, unfortunately. I wish that came out on vinyl. The promos, they don't. They're on the black painted-on label. Yuck. Johnny G here, but that record's great. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. We continue. We are in the year 1960. This next group, they met up with label owner Buddy Caldwell while singing in a local club, and he decided to record them on his RoCal record label, which he was operating out of New York City. They were called the Versatiles. This group features the falsetto lead of Ricky Cardo. Let's go to September of 1960. The Versatiles on RoCal. It's called Lundy Dundee.
Hello, 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 in London.
Hello, 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 in London.
Hello, 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 in London.
Hello, 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 in London. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Those are the Versatiles. The Versatiles with Lundy Dundee on the RoCal label. Released in September 1960. The falsetto voice you hear, Ricky Cardo. He's on need. Now, after this release, some of the group members joined the service. Then, about 2.5 years later, the group reformed with the same lineup, but they changed their name. They changed their name to the Majors. The Majors, they signed with Imperial Records. They had their biggest hit, 1962, a song called A Wonderful Dream. You may know that tune. They have other cool records on the Imperial label. And in 66, they recorded as The Performers on the ABC Paramount record label. Johnny G here spinning original vinyl 45s. We are in the year 1961 now. Let's go to a flip side from a couple of weeks ago. Played the A side of this 45 by Freddie Owens. Came out on Slim Rose's Wall label. The song was called Heavenly One. I also like the B side. With Jack Gale and his orchestra and chorus. There is a girl group backing this singer up. It's from November 61. Freddie Owens on Wall. It's called The Chapel. Warren likes that record. Warren, you like the flip side of that a couple weeks ago, too. You better look for that 45. Shouldn't be that I bought it from Barry Soltz. Barry Soltz sold me that a while back, though. Haven't bought a record from Barry in a long, long time. But that's Freddie Owens and a girl group, November 1961, called The Chapel. It's on the Wall label. Not many releases on that Wall label. The New Yorkers have 2 releases on that label. I have an instrumental and I have one other. Anyway, Johnny G babbling on here. Let's continue. We are in 1961. This next group, they're from Boston, Massachusetts. This was their initial release. Came out on the Laurie label out of New York City. It features Billy Thompson on lead. Billy Thompson. This group is called the Altears. The Altears. It's from April 61, Laurie Records. It's a nice ballad. It's called Words Can't Explain. Group out of Boston, Massachusetts. They're called the Altears. April 1961 release. Words Can't Explain is the name of that one, Laurie Records. Now, lead singer Billy Thompson, well, actually, this group has another release on the G-Clef label, I think in 62 or 63. Now, Billy Thompson was the lead. He has an in-demand Northern Soul 45 that came out on the Wand label. I have the 45. It's called Black Eyed Girl, 1966 on Wand. I have played it on my All 60's show, which is the last show of the month. Anyway, Johnny G here doing Vinyl Treasure overtime because I got a couple of requests to play, so we will do that. But let's continue here now. When Grady Chapman left the Robins, he was replaced by Bobby Sheen, who was an LA tenor greatly influenced by Clyde McPhatter. Now, Sheen was at one time, he also was Johnny in the duo Marvin and Johnny for a time, and is best remembered probably as a member of Bobby B. Sox and the Blue Jeans. But he did lead on some of the a Robin 45s on the Night label, and he stayed with them until they moved to the RV label, actually past the RV label, till they signed with Lavender Records, a subsidiary of Indigo Records. They had 2 releases on the Lavender label. I'm featuring their first, which I first heard on the Gus Gossard Show. I used to play this record every Saturday. Gus Gossard used to play this one all the time. It features Bobby Sheen on lead and Roy Richard. He is the bass on this. From March of '61, give a listen to the Robins on Lavender and their rendition of the tune White Cliffs of Dover. I can never find this record clean. It's either in styrene or this is a vinyl press. It's not a lot of money. This record doesn't sell for a lot of money at all, but they just play not up to par for Johnny G. But anyway, cool record there. March '61, the Robins, White Cliffs of Dover, their rendition of that tune on the Lavender record label. Bobby Sheen on lead there. Roy Richard, he's on bass, first of 2 on Lavender. This one actually was number 27 on KYA in San Francisco, California. Johnny G now in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Let's continue for some 45s here. This next group was very big in their hometown of San Antonio, Texas. Started back in 1960, recording for the Harlem label out of San Antonio, not New York. But they signed with Abe Epstein's Cobra label, and they had 3 releases on Cobra. I'm featuring their first. It features Demas Garza on lead. We go to November of 1961 for the Royal Jesters. Royal Jesters on Cobra. Give a listen to their tune. It's called Is That Good Enough for You?
I've given you everything I own. 'Cause I love you.
just trust me to make your future bright. And if things go wrong, I will make them right. This I beg of you. Is that good enough for you? My only goal is pleasing you. This I must confess, pleasing you and loving you. That's my happiness I've given you. Everything I own and my heart and soul, they are yours alone. One thing I must know. Is that good enough for you? Is that good enough for you? Is that good enough for you?
That's a nice ballad. Reminds me of a couple records. I think it was Didn't We Have a Nice Time was one of them on Tory Ltd. And one other record. Anyway, combination of that maybe. But anyway, those are the Royal Jesters, November 1961. Is That Good Enough for You? That's their first release on the Cobra label. Demas Garza, he was on lead. They had other releases on the Jocks, Hollywood Jester, Clown, other labels. Unfortunately, we lost Demas Garza November 1st of 2008. He was only 61, died of a heart attack, but a great voice there with the Royal Jesters. Johnny G here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Let's continue here. And on the last 50's show, California listener Mady Campboy, she requested Jerry Carmen on the Barish label, his 1962 cover of the Marvin and Johnny song Cherry Pie. That was the intended A-side. The B-side's pretty good too, in my opinion. So let's give it a spin before I file it back down in the No Humidity basement. It's on the Barish label out of Brooklyn, New York, and it was co-written by the lead singer. His name is Jerry Carmen. This is from 1962. Jerry Carmen on Barish. It's called Could This Be Love?
Could this be love that has walked into my life? Could this be love? Love in which I sacrifice. And if this is love, no, I don't mind to deny. Maybe my true love won't go by. Could this be dreams?
Sounds of 1962 here on the Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Jerry Carmen there, 1962, Could This Be Love? It's on the Barish record label. We continue now. Got a request for Matey Campboy. She wanted to hear the B-side to this Righteous Brothers 45, actually their first national hit. Made it up to number 49 on the Billboard chart. I guess you can call that a hit. It was number 47 on Cashbox. The hit side, the A side, was called Little Latin Loopy Loo, but the B side is a cool doo-wop sound that actually charted. It charted number 37 on KRLA out in Los Angeles back in late 1962, and it's the first of 13 releases they had on Ray Maxwell's Moonglow label. And this is Bill Medley and Bobby Hatfield. These are the Righteous Brothers going out to Matey Campboy from November 62. The Righteous Brothers on Moonglow with a song entitled I'm So Lonely.
So lonely, lonely, lonely. I want each tear you cry. I want each tear to be for me. I want your love. I'm so lonely, oh, so lonely. My heart would break inside if you turned your back on me. Now that you know I love you so, look in my eyes, yeah, you're mine. And I'll never, ever let you go. I pray to the Lord above that you will be my love. So hear my prayer. I need your love. I'm so lonely, 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 lonely. I'm so lonely. Let me tell you now, I'm so lonely, so lonely, I'm so lonely, baby. What can I do? Tell me now, what can I do? I'm lonely.
Yes, Daryl, they first started out as the Paramours, have some nice tunes. I had that one actually on Moonglow by the Paramours. There She Goes, I think, is a song. But that one there, special request for Matey Campboy listening out in California. The Righteous Brothers with a B-side there, November 1962. I'm So Lonely on the Moonglow record label. Bobby Hatfield does a great record too, I Need a Girl, and that's a good one that they do. But we're continuing here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Got another request I got to play for someone else in the webcam, the Vinyl Treasure YouTube chat room. But let's continue here. Got another cover tune up next on the 50s and early 60s edition. I featured 2 weeks ago the Halos and their cover of the Nathaniel Mayer and the Fabulous Twilights hit The Village of Love. Well, here are the Halos again, but they are recording under the name The Crafties. Now, this group included Arthur Cryer, Bobby Spencer, J.R. Bailey, and Gary Morrison. And here they're doing a cover song first recorded by the Collegians back in 1958 on the Winley label. This one from March 62 on Elmore Records, the Crafties, with their rendition of the tune Zoom, Zoom, Zoom.
I love you, yes I love you so. Want the world to know that I love you so. I need you by my side. Want you for my bride, 'cause I love you so. Yes, I really need you. Yes, I really love you. Yes, I
Cover tunes here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the Crafties. Johnny G losing his voice. Crafties, March 1962. Zoom, Zoom, Zoom is a cover of the Collegians tune there, Elmore Records. You know, the Crafties, a.k.a. the Halos, they were behind Curtis Lee on Pretty Little Angel Eyes and Gee, How I Wish You Were Here. That was a 45 my aunt purchased back in 1961, and she used to play that record for me. And it was a tough week getting used to, my aunt no longer here. But it's, time heals. Yes, it does. Now, let's continue here. Up next, a request for Sir Hats. He's currently in the YouTube chat room. He asked me if I had this rare 45 out of Atlanta, Georgia. Cost me some bucks for sure. It is a rare record, and he likes this song, and so do I. Initially, this group recorded as the Invictors on the TPE label back in, I think, at the end of 1960. They have 4 releases in 60 and 61. But then in 62, they became the New Invictors. And Sir Hats requested this great ballad written by the lead singer. His name is Tony Moon, actually Levy Tony Moon. And it's a very rare and expensive 45. From 1962, we send it out to Sir Hats. These are the New Invictors on Hale Records. It's called Deeply in Love with You.
Whoa, darling, I'm deeply in love with you. 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 Yes, darling, I love you so much, and I need you by my side. For your precious love, I'll never cry, 'cause I love you. I love you.
Yes, darling, I love you with all my heart and all my soul. And all my love, dear, you possess. And the man up above knows that you control. I've been hot so many times, and in so many, many ways. Just how much I love you, dear. And I'll tell it like this, any place that I love you.
By request for Sir Hats in the YouTube chat room. That's a great record. I think that's their best record. Then followed up by this thing called Love. But those are the New Invictors. The New Invictors 1962, Deeply in Love with You, on the Hale record label. Very expensive, $45 if you're looking for the original label on the Hale record label. Let's continue for a couple more here, and we move into 1963. This is another rare 45, this next one, out of Huntsville, Alabama. It's on the Starfax label. It's the group's only release. This is from 63. They're called the Viscounts. Starfax Records. It's called Wandering.
I'm wandering, wandering. Let's go wandering through love. I'm wandering, wandering. We'll go wandering through walk with me, walk with me. Tell me the things that I like to hear, and we'll go wandering through love.
Rare 45s here as we wind down on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That one there out of Huntsville, Alabama. Those are the Viscounts, 1963, Wandering. Starfax Records. Jerry Diaz, a dealer out in California, sold me that record and can't tell you the price. But where is Jerry Diaz nowadays? Anyways, we wind down here. Said I would play a matey. I found a 45 you asked me for. I had it up here, so I'm going to play it for you. It's from 1963, and we go to Los Angeles, California. This artist recorded two for Johnny Otis's Dig record label back in 1956. His first one was a great record. It was called Lonely, Lonely Nights. Then he had a couple of releases on the Starla label, or release on Starla and a release on SR. Now, this is his last, and when I bought this record, the guy told me this was his rarest 45. It came out on the MO label. It's a song he co-wrote. So this is by special request because I had it in the box. Didn't plan to play it, but I will because I have it here. It's Little Julian Herrera. We're going to send this one out to Matey Campboy listening over in California. Little Julian Herrera. This is his last record on MO. It's called Your Careless Love. By special request for Matey Campboy in the YouTube chat room there, she wanted to hear Little Julian Herrera on the MO record label 1963. Your Careless Love is the name of that one. I had it in the box here. I played it on that Thursday night? I forget the night. I was I was on for an hour and 47 minutes on that night. I was up late. I was tired the next day, but I enjoyed test playing records. We'll do that again probably this coming week sometime. So click as a subscriber, you'll know when I'm on. You can check it out. It'll probably be, later in the evening when I get home from work. Anyway, let's continue a couple more here. Back to California for this girl group on Max and Soul Weiss's Galaxy label. I featured the B-side of this 45 a long time ago, a number of weeks ago. I played the ballad side called Bells, but let's give a listen. That was a B-side. Let's give a listen to the intended A-side, and mine's on a white promo copy with green vinyl. I think Daryl mentions he's never seen a stock copy. But anyway, let's give it a spin. January 63, they're called the Playgirls. The Playgirls on Galaxy, and their tune's called Donnie. Those are the Playgirls, January 1963. Donnie is the name of the tune on the Galaxy record label out of California. 2 more 45s to go before Johnny G signs off here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Let's stick with the girl groups. This group from New York, first recorded as the Swensons on the Extra record label back in 1960. Now, this group consisted of Lorraine and Barbara Joyner and cousins Valerie Swinson and Annette Smith. They became the Veneers with a release on the Princeton label. Another one came out on the Traco label. I'm featuring their Traco 45. And it features Annette Smith on lead. This one from April 63, the Veneers on Traco, with a song entitled With All My Heart. April 1963 release there for the Veneers. Annette Smith on lead, trying to sound a lot like Arlene Smith of the Chantels. But With All My Heart is the name of that one. Came out on the Traco record label. That's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. I want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to my original vinyl 45s out of my collection. You want to get in touch with Johnny G, send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. Been recording this one on Ustream. We'll get it up. No, not Ustream. Why do I say that? Dumb Ustream. YouTube. That's because I did it first on Ustream, but it's YouTube. They're going to penalize me. But you can go there. If you missed some of the show, you can go back and watch it. Been getting a lot of response on the YouTube account. If you click subscriber, it would be good, because the more subscribers I have, the better it is for your host, Johnny G. And you click like, too. That'll help also. But you can also go to my website, vinyltreasures.net. You can download the show there, and or you can stream it, whatever you like. But anyway, that's going to do it for tonight, folks. Hope you enjoyed the show. I enjoyed bringing you the tunes every Saturday. I get as much enjoyment as hopefully you do from playing the records. So the closer tonight is where is it? Here it is. It's a flip side from maybe, I don't know how many weeks ago, but it's been a while since I played the flip side of this by a group called the Camelots. They're out of Brooklyn, and I played their cover of the Five Classics song, My Imagination. The flip is another cover, a song going back to 1947, recorded by so many groups through the years, but probably the most well-known of our type of music is that by the Harptones version. But we're going to close tonight with a version by the Camelots from 1963. It features David Nichols on lead. It's on the Enco label, the Camelots with Sunday Kind of Love, which is tomorrow's Sunday. I will see my love tomorrow. I don't know what we're doing, but we'll do something. But anyway, that's going to do it, folks. Please tune in tomorrow evening here on Top Shelf Oldies starting at 9 p.m. for my buddy Dave the Rave and his Relics and Rarities show. Got some cool 60s sounds. Dave has a great collection also, so you want to tune into that. And all the shows here on Top Shelf Oldies, they're each one different but similar, that we play oldies, and hopefully you enjoyed the tunes I played tonight. Again, I want everybody to have a safe and happy week, and join me next Saturday here at 10 o'clock for my 1950s and early 60s edition. Again, thank you, Charlene, again for all your help. Very important to Johnny G and the helping to get this show done, prepared every week. So that's going to do it, folks. Just want to say, everybody, so long.
I'm through with my old love. I loved her through and through. I'm searching for a new love. Can that new love be you?
I want a Sunday kind of love to keep me warm when Mondays are cold. Sunday kind of love. I want a love that's on the square. Can't seem to find somebody to care. I must roll this road that leads me nowhere. I want a Sunday kind of love. I do my Sunday scheming and all my Sunday dreaming. Every minute, every hour, every day. I'm hoping to discover a certain kind of lover who will show me the way. My heart needs someone to enfold, to keep me warm when Mondays are cold. I want a love to have and to hold. I want a Sunday kind of love. Someone to enfold, to keep me warm when Mondays are cold. I want a love to have and to hold. I want a Sunday kind of love. I want a Sunday kind of love. I want a Sunday kind of love.
Now I can talk to you folks. Yes, I know there's 10. I can't see. I only can see the people who chat, so I don't know who's really in the viewer. There's 10 of you currently in the viewer. So I don't know who. I only know who's here. and who I said goodnight to, because those are the ones. And maybe Warren isn't there because he left the other one. Here's that record label, Anko Records. You know, a good record on this label is Connie Questel and the Decoys. I Love Only You, a great record on the Anko label, by the way. That'll cost you about $300, I think, if you have that record. That Starfax record, I think Jerry Diaz charged me like $1,000 for that record. I don't know what it's worth now. Maybe it goes for less. Remember, I was buying stuff maybe during its heyday, but I usually would go with the Kreider guide. Sometimes I got messed up because a lot of the records in that book, the people that were populating that book, Chris Varelis and a couple other guys, if they didn't have the record, they priced it low. So when people came across that record, they would sell it to them at lower prices. So, but again, I think a record is really worth whatever it is on the market. Unfortunately, with eBay, you can get certain records at a pretty cheap price because either collectors like myself have it already, and those collectors that are now seeing these records pop up, they can get it at a much cheaper price. That's been happening, but everybody's been going for the same records that everybody is missing because they're truly the rare ones. But anyway, that's what it is. So anyway, I hope you dug the show tonight. I enjoyed bringing it to you, and I'll be back next week. Again, thank you, Charlene. I thanked you, but you're very important to the show. And I want to thank all of you that stuck around, and have more records for you. Got requests? Send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. Been looking for, Lino sent me a request for the V8s. I think it was called Guess What? Something like that on the Vibro label. I have it. I just couldn't find it. But I need actually little elves to help me file back a lot of the records. But anyway, let me get going. I got to take my shake, and maybe I lost another pound today. I don't know. I shoveled a little bit. But tomorrow, relaxing day. I'll see you guys next week. So long. Oh, Fred, where were you all night? You must have came in late. I was here since midnight, if that counts. And a cool record only worth what it's worth to the buyer. That is correct. I'll see you next week, guys.